First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Wherever they may be, this is titled More Psychological Operations. It's kind of a piggyback on the lesson I did yesterday. I don't know if it was cut short, because from what I recall, I thought the lesson was around 15 minutes or so, but I know sometimes the stream gets cut. So, it is what it is, through these hiccups to push these shows out. It's all part of the, the growing pains of this thing, man. It happens. And sometimes it be the most edifying shows, from our particular opinion that seems to be clipped. And that could be rather frustrating more often than not, but it is what it is. This man is on the ropes, and this is why he's continuing with all his psychological operations, man. Okay, the American people, the citizens of Babylon, they don't realize that they've been played and foiled by a system that was set up to infringe on their freedoms. Okay, and you got books and articles on how psychological operation has been declared on the people. Okay, from pseudoscience to attacks to certain dictatorships to, particular political campaigns and, certain policies that's being implemented in the earth to ultimately get you people to give up your civil rights. Because, see, they mentioned you have roughly 350 million people in America, okay? And I believe that may be documented. To be technically honest, you can have, you can have up to, just my opinion, I think you got every bit of 100 million people here, 500 million people. And I'm not just being exaggeratory, because this is a big ass country, but 350 million to be safe, right? To be on the safe side. And they mentioned that the average citizens have 2 firearms, okay? Between 2 and 4 firearms, man. So think about it. If you got 350 million people in America and everybody have 2 firearms apiece, you do the math on that. So what's 2 times 350 million? And you do the guess. All right. So people here, they're armed to teeth, because one thing about America patriotism is to defend your fellow countrymen and to fight for country. Okay. And that has always been the sentiment of America, home of the free, land of the brave. All right. But over time, these freedoms and these particular ideologies have been tampered with through the powers to be, to put people in a state of distress, man. Okay, from psychological distress to economical turmoil to sicknesses and diseases, and the list goes on. So this current situation, going back into this guy Charlie Kirk, okay, which was a known racist, and the facts are coming out about this guy, which, I mean, there's no surprise there. Okay, he's had campaigns slandering Jake for years, but see, the world is waking up to the fact that the small hats and that these political candidates that you've put on or that you've pedestalized never had your best interests. I was on Facebook, and it was on my ex-barber. he posted a post. He said, wow, I never knew that Charlie Kirk was racist. This is the first videos I saw him being a racist, and that's because you people, you're not tuned in. And it's bigger than just, oh, he a white man that hates so-called black people. This is a spiritual war that we have been engaged in since the garden, man, to be technically honest. Okay, ever since Eve went into the philosophies of the heathens, the serpent, which you go into that word serpent, it goes into somebody that's cunning or subtle. Okay, a sorcerer, a witch. All right, and if you pay attention to Esau's media and just his way that his system works is based on witchcraft, man. But anyway, this has been a war on our people since the beginning, going back into the garden, all the way to Cain and Abel, down to Jacob and Esau, even to this modern day system that we're currently living in, man. It's been nothing more but a war between, Jake and Esau, man. So you Jakes, you're just getting to the party late, and we've been warning you about stuff like this, man. But now everybody's like, well, Charlie Kirk is a racist, and you got women that's going online screaming, talking about how he got what he deserved, X, Y, and Z, blase, 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 which is stirring tension between Jacob and Esau, because you got a few Jakes out there, and this guy by the name of Anton Daniels, which I believe he's a plant, You know, he's just a nigga that wants to make it in America. You know, he really believes in a right wing. Trump is really for the benefactor of billionaires. And he may be true in some cases because Trump is for his billionaire type, but he's not for you. Okay, Trump don't like you Jakes, man. But like I mentioned, it's deeper than just black and white hate. This is a spiritual war. All right, but you got women going online growling about this guy Charlie Kirk and how good for him, good for him, good for him. And Esau, he's got you where he wanted you, man. Okay, he's gotten you people arguing over very minute talking points just so he can get the race war and the civil wars and, you know, the particular wars in the streets to get people to fuel hatred against one another, man. Because ultimately, they want to crack down on truth content, you know? So, allegedly, they triangulated, what the hell is these people doing? They triangulated the shooter. I guess they caught up with the shooter, and I guess he was like a trans activist or something like that. You know, some folly, which left a manifesto and a bullet talking about left wing. It's completely sloppy. But see, when you do stuff like that, people get under the impression that, see, this is a war between Democrats and Republicans, but people are not smart enough to realize that that's just a play on your mindset, man. Okay, if somebody really wanted to commit a crime and get away with it, you ain't gonna leave no manifesto. You're just gonna do it and you're gonna get out of Dodge. But somehow, some way they caught this person, which was, I guess, some type of trans activist, right? And prior to that, he was talking about the violence of gangs and, you know, how gang violence is a problem and how trans shooting up schools and all this other stuff has been the problem. And all of a sudden, he caught the straight bullet to the noodle, you know? And here you go now. Now the country is on fire because of this guy. All right, because the average nigga out there don't know what's going on. Now, when you go back into this whole situation on the train, and I wasn't gonna speak on it too much because when I saw the video, part of me like, this looked like it could be staged or fake, you know? And the brother brought it to light. He confirmed what I was already thinking in the spirit. But I had did a lesson on it the other day, and I was like, you know, psychological operation because you Israelites are now the face of terror. So with that whole incident in North Carolina, I believe, no, was it Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte, I believe, on the train, when that Jake allegedly stabbed that Ukrainian woman, I believe he stabbed her in a particular artery in the neck, and yet you didn't see any blood, you know, gushing out of her neck from being hit in the neck. You know, you get hit in the neck, you're gonna instantly start dripping. Okay, and what are the chances that she got hit in the neck and your boy Charlie Kirk gets hit in the neck and you see the difference of impact? You know, even though a bullet have more of an impact because it's quick-witted, the projectile, you know, it's quick bow, you know, the impact. But even then, getting stabbed and punctured, you know, it's still leave a residual effect on it, man. You see? But I wasn't gonna say nothing about it, but I'm like, this look like this kind of fish. I'm like, I don't know if I really believe this video or not. Because I know Esau has deep fakes out there. I know Esau has the ability to splice footage and make things what it is, you know, because it's sorcery. You know, and I get that he can do these things through his technology now, you know, but I didn't say that in the video because I'm like, you know, I ain't want to, you know, jump to conclusions and reach because, I mean, apparently he's on video stabbing this chick and now, you know, so-called black man is the face of violence and this and that, but they're not mentioning that just a couple of weeks ago, a so-called black woman got stabbed in the neck by a so-called white man on a bus, and that's being swept under the rug, man. Okay, what about all the times that, you know, you Edomites have lynched Jake? Jake's still getting lynched to this day, and yet that's out of the news. Okay, you so-called white people, you can't cover up the amount of crimes you've done to our people. I don't give a damn. Like I said yesterday, Jake can commit 1 billion crimes a year and it would not even pierce the surface on how many murders you devils have unjustly committed against our people. Okay, going back into the 1920s, 1930s, going back into them robbing stage coaches, man, the mob. You know, a lot of those mobs was financed by Russian Jews and actual Jews and Lights, you know, to fund gang violence and robbing trains and sticking up jewelry. All that shit go back to you damn devils, man. Okay, I bought that out a while ago with the whole masks and hooding up. That goes back into you Edomites when you were robbing stagecoaches. You would put these over your face, you know, you call yourself like bandits and shit. So fast forward, Jake started gangs in order to fight off the Edomites, man. Because Esau would come in our neighborhoods and he would rob, rape, murder, pillage our people. And this is actual documentation on this, man. You so-called white people, you started all this violence. And Jake is nothing more but a psychological effect of what the hell you started, man. Now all of a sudden, so-called black people are the face of terror. That's crazy. You know, even though Jake is not innocent, and Jake is clearly a domestic problem, but you devils are not innocent, man. And this is why it tells us that the Most High will not at all quit the wicked. Okay, because you're not going to get away from your crimes against humanity, and you're not going to get away with your crimes against the Negro, Latino, and Native American, which are the biblical Israelites, man. You know? So yeah, this whole Charlie Kirk ordeal and the stabbing of the Ukrainian woman on a train, she just sat there and balled up and she died. And you got podcast gurus, you got Redacted, and you got Sean Ryan and, you know, Glenn Beck and all these men talking about, oh, you know, this is violence, this is what we are facing here in America, blase, blase, blase. Not knowing that these people are paid opposition, you know. And like I said, I speak as a man when I go into the whole train stabbing, because, you know, you really don't know. It's speculative at this point. But at the end of the day, psychological war has been raised on the people, and people are getting ready to get at each other's throats because of what the media is putting out. Okay, when you go into the word media, it goes into the word medium, which means intercessor. Okay, and when you're speaking with a witch, or you're trying to commune with the dead, you have what they call a medium that channels the spirit from the dead to reach the humans. Okay, a sorceress, a witch, or a wizard, you know. And this television and news stations and all these men that you see on the news, they're operating as wizards, man, or witches or warlocks. Okay, because that's the spirit that the Most High put on these devils, according to Isaiah the 47th chapter. Stand 9 and 9 enchantments, and thou has labored from thy youth, roughly paraphrasing it. All right, so yeah, we're living in a big psychological operation. Okay, witchcraft is at an all-time high. Things are just getting ready to boil over, because now the stage for civil war is set, and this devil can justify the means of coming down with great wrath on all you people and taking away your freedoms. Because at the end of the day, and I'm gonna say it again, this is all designed to lump you into a system, a digital grid, set up to control your every thought, move, and mindset, man. Okay, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, which will be in tandem with Palantir. Okay, what's the other one? Stargate, the Gideon Project. All these things will funnel the ploy or the plot to set up the MOTB systems to lock you people into an integrated grid, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is all it's about. So somehow, some way, yeah, we got to crack down on all this crime. We got to make sure that, you know, we're watching the so-called black people. We got to police the neighborhoods because crime is at an all-time high. We got to do blase, 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 X, Y, and Z. And you people fall for it because you're just that damn stupid, man. All right, to say the least. The American people, I will admit, you're not very wise, to say the least. You know, and it is what it is. You know, these people bought into the Babylon juice, and this is the result of it. Okay, scriptures say gross darkness should cover the people. All right. So anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Lord's will, you will edify. Into the next lesson. Shalom.